Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I am your host, Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep, and we are here tonight to talk a little bit of playoff baseball. And we are bringing in our super exclusive friend, Mr. Brendan Tuma. Brendan,
How we doing?
good. How's your meal there? You just finishing up?
Yeah, just some late night working, and I apologize for my background, how dark it is. I was explaining. For right now, it's the only place in the house that I could get some space to be able to come on here and talk. But if I'm being honest, it's worth it because we're talking playoff baseball, and we're talking the pennant, and we're talking underdog, and I'm willing to make those concessions in order to be able to pull that off.
Yes, yeah. I'm excited to have you on here. Actually, let's pull it up here. I got the little banner. Absolutely. If you haven't checked it out yet, go to stackingdingers.com. Brendan is part of the group there that we are just going to start posting our thoughts about. Well, right now it's about the playoffs and playoff best ball, but plan is to go hard next season to just sort of share all our thoughts specifically about uh, just best ball and baseball, how those relate. So I'm really excited. That was sort of something that was your brainchild in a way.
I feel like we're at I don't know, I'm trying to think of like the analogy to use. We're at like the beginning of learning a lot about MLB best ball, I think. I think the work that
Ooh,
Chris is doing is
we
just like
snapped
scratch.
build.
Sorry. Oh, perfect. The work that Chris is doing in particular, is just like scratching the surface. And I think in the next year or two, especially, what, me, you, Chris, the Badge Bros have planned, it's we're gonna like exponentially uh get smarter. And we're gonna
Yeah,
provide that to everyone who checks out Stacking Dingers.
yeah. Right now the Bad Bros are knee deep in the daily football streets, so we might not see too much from them right now. But yeah, we definitely they're gonna be joining in on the writing and the fun over at Stacking Dingers. And Chris is just a crazy man in his data analysis and as well his ability to draft 150 playoff teams.
Do we have any friends, family in this draft tonight?
No, not really. We have Luke Big Shots, who's in every draft of every sport everywhere. Other than that, I recognize some of these other names, but nobody that's really a viewer that I know of off the top. Um, so yeah, three is interesting position. Your your decision. I haven't drafted one for a couple of days, so I don't actually know where ADP has gone lately. But usually the decision here is wow. Aaron Nola's up here. These Phillies are getting really okay. So we got two Atlanta guys go off the board. Um, the problem here is if you take you don't. I don't want to take a third Atlanta guy. I don't want to, or if you take an LA or Houston guy, you're going to miss out on the pair, the top pair. But I
I
think
love
that's what we're going to do. I think that's what
Okay.
we're going to do here. I know Dodgers are looking a little bit frail right now, um, especially on the pitching staff. Um, but I'm also just sort of making this a little bit different. Usually I would go Mookie here if I'm going to try to get the Dodgers pair. Um, but the interesting thing now is Kershaw is falling. Like the other parts of this team aren't haven't moved up at all.
I think so. Yeah, I totally agree with you. The Dodgers are becoming a little bit out of vogue right now, which probably makes them, a better time to buy. The issue that I've run into just thinking through some of these teams and in the playoffs is how their pitching sets up. It's part of the reason I love the Phillies so much. It's just like
Mhm.
Wheeler and Nola. If the Phillies are going to get there, it's going to be through those guys. Whereas the Orioles, who are, have a chance to be the one seed, just don't have that strong of pitching that makes you feel good about their order, and the Dodgers are becoming that too. We actually got news tonight. Dave Roberts said Bobby Miller is going to start one of the first two games of their first series, which is strange that he announced it this far out, and that was probably obvious anyways. But
yeah, with like who else was going to be number 2? It'd be more crazy if he was 1. All right, so we did not get a third Atlanta drafter, which is interesting. You almost kind of want somebody to split them up for the other people. I'm going to jump in on Tampa here and stake a claim on them. We are running a risk of doing 2 bye teams here. But I think if it turns out as we get closer and Tampa is a bye team or isn't a bye team,
then you won't be able to get that pairing.
Right. Exactly. Sorry.
No, these drafts move fast. You come up on the clock quickly.
Yep. Yeah. Hard to talk. I'm going to take Kershaw here. Assume he's surviving. It almost seems like they should. Well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if they should like put him on the IL for the playoffs at this point. Kind of surprising that they haven't.
I have him in an important redraft league, so I've been following along, and it does just seem like he's not 100%, and that shutting things down isn't gonna help him too much.
Okay.
That's kind of the gist that I get, but it definitely makes me question if he's going to be able to, pitch deep into playoff games. Again, if the Dodgers get there, they're going to need something from him. And I do love Bobby Miller so much, so he's an exciting player to try to be early on in a sense this postseason.
So we do miss out on Muncy and Martinez there. Is there I'm just starring all my 2 teams now.
Did Glass now go?
No. Let's see here. All right, we are up next. Nobody else has taken Tampa. Let's see. The guy on the end, Dodgers, Seattle. We got a Philly, big stack. Houston, big stack. We've taken Dodgers, Tampa.
So the issue, you got to compete with that other guy for Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, if Tampa gets there, it's.
So this is I want to make sure I get Will Smith here. I mean, I'm not going to compete with anybody on this side, but one of these 2 picks I want to be Will Smith. So I probably should have waited, maybe taken, because this guy on the end, Shui 134 is our wild card here. There's usually one of these in every draft. Well, if you're lucky, there's only one.
You can see the badges.
Well, yeah.
Do you prefer that though? Would you prefer? All right, so hold on. So you got to decide if anyone else is going to take any of your Tampa guys.
This is a nasty. I want to get Bobby Miller here. I know his ADP is way down, but he's too important to LA. He's way more important to me than Lance Lynn.
I don't think ADP matters at all in these. Yeah. I wouldn't look at it.
This is probably one of the best Atlanta stacks I've seen. He's basically solo drafting him other than Acuna.
Yeah, that's good. Got Riley in round 3 there.
Yeah, so this is a pretty scary team that Big Shots is making, and this is one of the reasons that I'm afraid to try and draft Atlanta if I'm not maxing. Because people like this guy who are maxing are going to have these rooms more teams like this than I could ever do.
So you have the Rays.
Yeah, we do get Glass now here, which is excellent.
So I know Chris has talked about Spencer Strider as a possibility for like the first overall pick. And I like Tyler Glass now since he's come back. After his first 4 starts, he's been Strider light. It's been like all the K per 9 numbers, the strikeout minus walk rate. Like he's right there. I think the fact that you got him in the 6th, Strider went in the 1st. Yes, I like the Braves better, but like the Rays could be the 1 seed. Actually, well, in this case, if the Rays are the 1 seed, it
Then
doesn't
we're
help you.
no.
But
Yeah.
again, just the idea of like Strider is so valuable, and Glasnow is really he's like so close to him skills wise.
Yeah. And if you're new to this format and you're wondering what we're talking about, as far as why this is kind of a risky combination, if you look at the how this first round works, it is the wild card plus the divisional series. So if you are playing 2 team stacks that are both bye teams, you're not going to get any wild card games to score any of your players. So there is some risk here in doing it this way.
This has a chance, like essentially is another way to phrase it. Like this could be a dead ticket if the Rays get the bye.
Yeah, but Yandy Diaz isn't going to be going at 42 if the Rays are a wild card team for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, you gotta view it like a draft as if you're right sort of scenario this early.
Yeah, so I
like Outman.
Yeah, I do like throwing Outman here before I really try and get any of these Tampa guys. Like any of these Tampa outfielders are pretty replaceable. I can't tell you which one is going to be the guy in the playoffs, but I do like Outman there because Hernandez, Taylor, Peralta, Hayward all could have a game or two good in the playoffs, but Outman is a guy that could have a series that he goes off.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like you need another Ray for, because you're building this as if the Rays are not going to have the bye, so they're going to be playing round 1. So how many round 1 players do you feel like you need? I feel like you need Rays at this point.
Sure. I'm not too worried about it.
Savali?
Let's see. I'm gonna. What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm gonna take Paredes there. Yeah, this kind of went off the rails after it was on the rails, because at a certain point, MPV for MVP. Let's say that fast. Did jump in on some of the Atlanta pieces, which is good for us. We are happy to see someone fight Luke Big Shots for more Atlanta pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have, as in most drafts, we have Atlanta split between 3 different people. And he does have a nice Houston stack, but he is building, or I don't know but they are building a 2-bye team also.
If Houston gets it, which they probably will, but
yeah. What was Big Shots ruining his a really nice Atlanta stack with the Twins, which is maybe true. Who do you like from Tampa?
I really like Savali. If you're gonna go a pitcher,
that's where I was planning on going. Trying to manage here. We have 2 picks left.
What do you need?
Let's see kind of what's in our player pool here. This is the point where I start entertaining another wild card ace pitcher.
Who's available?
Gausman, Peralta.
Oh my god.
Peralta goes there. I don't love Gausman based on his. Oh, excuse me. Justin Steele's actually an interesting guy. I don't love him. I think I'm just going to stick with Zach Eflin here and just fill out a 5th Tampa guy. And then from here, since we are 3 Tampa pitchers, and let's like fast forward to the World Series matchup here where this team is there. We're 3 Tampa pitchers to 2 Dodgers. So I want to make sure I'd take another Tampa hitter here, assuming that in the likelihood that the scenario happens that the hitters are on one team are going to outscore, or the hitters on the team that you have more pitchers from would probably score more. Is that, you know what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Again, like, I just lean Tampa outfielder. I just want as many points in that wild card round. I'm really interested how it plays out this year because, like, as Chris has talked about, last year was a little weird. Like the National League, the 2 NLCS teams were wild card teams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this contest gets really weird if things go chalk, which we didn't actually see last year.
We did see in the football contest.
Oh, you're right. You're right. So, yeah, who are you thinking to close it out?
I'm just gonna have fun here and take Yelich.
All right, nice.
For a wild card bat. It's pretty restrictive on our outfield in the World Series, but
Randy's a big game player.
We're just telling the Randy World Baseball Classic repeat story here. So let's see where we ended up here. Team number 1 ends up with a mess of players from a bunch of teams.
Yeah, that's 2 all over the place.
They're just shooting for advancement here. They're pretty dead anywhere past that first round. Big Shots gets a nice Minnesota Atlanta stack. Regardless of what you think about the Twins, if they make it to the World Series, that team's probably the first place team. We built our Tampa Dodgers stack. We're at risk of both teams getting the bye. Although James here is saying he really likes the O's as the team you want to stack because of their playoff odds and that their ADP is really low, which is interesting. The person MPV for MVP built at Atlanta, Houston. So they're guaranteeing 2 bye teams. JT McKenzie builds a Phillies, Baltimore team. And Series builds a Seattle Dodger with Brandon Woodruff one off. So I think basically 2 teams are dead here. But obviously, and I haven't done a super big deep analysis on what happens if 2 bye teams get into the World Series like they did in football. All right, we need one more person to jump in.
And this is something I wrote about again on Sacking Dingers like a few weeks ago about Philly and why I like Philly so much as a team to stack. Now the ADPs have come up a lot, but that needed to happen. And that was probably going to happen anyways. But the reason that they're so valuable is because they have so many stars. So, if they get to the World Series, it's going to be through those guys. And then you can sack them with anyone on the AL side. You don't have to worry about that. And I really like just that flexibility that it gives you in that sense.
Yeah, so we got a couple of friends here. We got Gypsy, our stalwart on every draft stream you ever go on. And Whipdole is our friend Free Rolls. So that's we should expect these 2 guys to draft a 2-team build. And Siri was in our last draft. JT McKenzie was also on the bump is a badge that I recognize. I do wonder now on this one with the first pick, this might be the toughest pick for me because as I've hinted at is I'm basically fading Atlanta. So this is a pretty tough pick. I almost want to go Philly here.
Oh, that gets me the most excited.
All right. But I am going to take him because he's the top 8. No, I'm going to take. I don't want to miss out on Nola.
The first pick kind of stinks.
Yeah, it's really tough because whoever you take, if you're taking one of these top teams and you're not scrolling way down, which it could be an option, like you start with Julio there and just see what everybody else does with the NL, and you build your whatever NL stack seems to make the most sense with Seattle at that point, or something like that.
The thing with Philly is you need them all. Like it's Atlanta, the Dodgers is going to be, no one's going to have them all. But with Philly, there's already teams that have all of them. And who knows, maybe those ones won't advance, but there's going to be enough where people have them all. So yeah, you do need them all. But again, then it just like if no one's taking Baltimore, you can just
come on. On the bump takes Harper. Oh, read the room. All right. Moving on. Okay. Reset. He's gonna hurt himself. His arm's gonna give out finally. He came back too soon from rehab.
It's tough. So he's gotta take another Philly and then it's tough because then you almost just have to treat Nola. It's up to you what you want to do. But one way to play it then, which again is terrible value from the 101, but one way to play it is like, oh, Nola's my wild card one-off. But
that's actually an interesting idea. I have not thought of that.
Again, it depends what he does, and because then if he doesn't take a Philly, then you can go,
Okay, so he does take Freeman.
It almost makes it more annoying.
Yeah. So maybe I gave them too much respect when I saw their badge here. I'm gonna take Zach and Trey. And that's weird. All right, so Chip's going with the Dodgers Houston start. He almost got Freddie back to him. We'll see what Bump on the Bump does here. Maybe they are the wild card of this draft. I don't know. Okay, so he does take Schwarber. So yeah, this is the build where the true knockout dragout series is the NL divisional series, and it goes to 7 games, and one of the teams goes on and just stomps in the World Series.
I was just gonna say, so does this at this point you don't have all the Phillies? Does this mean you should consider going with an AL team that maybe isn't like your favorite or one that's not, popular, whether it's the Twins or the Orioles or whoever it is.
Yeah. Mookie Tucker is definitely a nice combo. Could easily outscore Freddie Bryce.
Have the Rays started going?
So Seattle goes. Whipdole is going in on the Cubs, which is a team you can get pretty much everyone if you start early.
No Rays yet?
No Rays yet. But I don't know. We'll see what happens these next few picks.
God, that guy's all over.
Yep. So I gave him a little too much respect, or gave them a little too much respect, I guess, here.
Yeah. They need to check out Stack and Dingus for how to play this contest.
Definitely. Because, I've said it many times. The more people that are staying on their teams in a draft, the better off the whole room is for winning. I'm going to do the Baltimore suggestion. And take. Wow, how much has Cedric Mullins fallen this year?
He's I think there's been some playing time stuff with him too. Nothing that would continue for this contest, but I just think he's fallen out of favor a little. He lost his leadoff spot too. Like they've been leading off Adley now for like 2 months.
Yeah, so I don't know. If I know free rolls, you've done some of these drafts, and I know Chip, you've done some. I don't know if you've seen on the bump if this is their prevalent strategy or not. Doing enough of these, you start to see some patterns of people. Best ball canceled was the good one for a while, who you knew was just going to be the wild card or playing for the advance, taking a bunch of like 3 different starters from the wild card round, or 3 different teams, a starter from 3 different teams in the wild card, just trying to get to that next level, and then stacking hitters from different teams. It was a weird strategy. That's being generous, saying weird.
I feel like, and again, we're new. Like Chris, we learned a lot from his data this past year for this contest as well. I am so like greedy with this stuff that I want to know that I can get like 2 full stacks. So like, yes, the most likely is Braves go to the World Series, the Dodgers to the Astros. But like, you could have started this draft or any draft right now, and you can just say, I'm getting every single important Oriole and Brewer.
Yep.
And that's not a super likely combo, but if it is, you win. Like you're winning that. If you have the big 3 Brewers pitchers and all the Orioles hitters and Yelich, like and so that is here, I'll let you go make your picks now.
I was gonna say that is what I know Chris did some of as he was trying to draft 150 at the same time. I'm taking Castellanos here, yeah. And JT.
Nice. So he rebounded with some Phillies.
Just because I don't think there's going to be Gunnar might go. I don't really feel a competition for Kyle Bradish coming.
Just to close my thought on that, though.
Yep. Go ahead.
And that's why, like, when you're drafting the pennant, it's really important to understand the time period that you're drafting him, because 3 weeks ago there wasn't that competition for Phillies. So it was, if you were drafting early, you could get them like really easily. You can combine them for like, the Astros. I know a buddy of mine who has like an Astros Phillies stack. That's again one that you can't really do now. So I just think you always like, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, like who knows, maybe the Brewers become super trendy. Someone, touts like the Brewers big 3 as having a huge edge in this contest, which they kind of do if the Brewers are going to go to the playoffs. Like those guys are going to roll.
Yeah. And they
I
are
just
going,
love, like, just owning that team and not having to compete with all the ancillary Braves and Dodgers guys.
I think that's a super sharp way to play it. My 2, let's see, before this I had 4 Philly stacks, 2 with Houston, 2 with Texas, which is maybe a lost cause at this point.
Well, no, the Rangers just swept the Blue Jays in 4 games.
Yeah, but now they're losing to Cleveland. At least they were when I was looking.
Someone took Gunnar.
Yeah, somebody took Gunnar. I'm going to take Cedric Mullins and Alec Boehm, and then just hit some pitchers here.
What are your thoughts on Grayson, especially for a build like this?
He's basically, when I'm stacking Baltimore, part of my bet on them succeeding in the playoffs is that he stays healthy and he's pitching like he's pitching now, then, which is a huge risk considering where he's at on his innings already this year.
I just feel like I mentioned this on Twitter the other day. I just feel like this has been underreported, or maybe I'm not, reading or but I read a lot of beat reporter articles as part of like what I do for work. So
Yeah.
I feel like one of my edges just in playing fantasy is really understanding where these teams are coming from. And I just haven't seen anything about how the Orioles are approaching Grayson, and he's already like way over the innings limit. So if they do win the World Series, that's another 4 or 5 starts for him. So I'm just really curious what their internal plan is.
And it's especially strange because maybe they learned their lesson about talking about it before the season, but they were very vocal about what their plan was.
I have heard that front office, because they've had top draft picks in recent years, and I followed the draft really closely, and that front office, like, they don't leak anything. Like, no one knew Jackson Holiday was the first pick until it was made. So they are pretty tight-lipped.
But they did leak, or they did come out and say that they were going to limit him in game and blah 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 at one point in the preseason.
And I go back and forth with that, like, as a team. Like, if I was running the Orioles right now, if I would just push Grayson and say, let's go win it, and I come out leaning towards yes.
I agree. We're gonna take him. We're not gonna leave without him. Like, he's just head and shoulders above these other guys that Baltimore can throw out there in terms of who can put up high scores. What's your you got a Philly preference here as the number 3, Ty or Ranger?
I don't.
All right, we're gonna get a Burns wild card here.
Yeah, that could be really nice.
Or 2. At some point, it does make sense to see who, as we get this a little more solidified as we get closer, like to look at that next step of the bracket when you're making these sort of combos. If you're putting in that one off from a wild card, like if you know that there's no chance that the Phillies and Brewers can meet in the divisional series,
I see what you're saying.
You probably don't want to do that.
They actually, no, they can't.
Is that set?
Yeah, because the Brewers are going to be the 3 seed because they're going to win the division, and the Phillies are the 4 seed because they have enough of a lead.
Okay, I like your confidence in the Brewers. I'm not there yet.
I know. I think the only team I wouldn't be able to talk myself into in one of these stacks is the Twins.
Yeah.
No, to be clear,
I'm saying about winning the division. I'm not confident. I haven't seen how Yelich is doing. He's back in the lineup tonight finally, but
the Brewers have a 4.5 game lead. And I know they played the Cubs the last series of the year, but
like I said, I like your confidence. As a Brewers fan, I do not have it. So we'll probably fill this last spot with Ty Walker. If you also don't follow Brendan, he does have his own baseball Substack too, where he just published some rough thoughts on the Chaim Bloom firing. So I read that, and that was such a good write up. It was just like an emotional, like I could tell that you just sat down. Well, I think you had part of it done, or some ideas done in a draft, but I could tell you just sat down afterwards and just let your mind out on the internet page.
It derailed my whole day. I couldn't believe that they did it. I just felt like he had another year left in him, the way ownership is operating. And I've had a very emotional relationship with the Red Sox in my life, and it's been a little bit dormant in the past couple of years, partly because of how the team's been behaving recently. But when that news just like struck something in me, and it struck something in a lot of Red Sox fans, and hopefully it'll end up being, a good thing, but there are still some major questions to be asked.
Yeah, one of your head honchos there at Underdog is also a latent fan in Rudman. So
Mhm.
I know I saw him tweet out. Now they got to just do something else, and maybe I'll think about being a fan.
Yeah, I think he was like, sell the team. That's a
Oh
popular
yeah,
narrative.
yeah, and that's the thing that I forgot until listening to some more coverage on it today. I'd forgotten that they fired Dombrowski just like right after winning the World Series.
Yeah.
So like it's sort of a wild card situation where anything was possible as far as when and the timing of guys going in and out.
I'll give so I've seen that floated as like, oh, maybe, a top exec isn't going to want to come to Boston now because of the turnover. And it's like, I don't agree with that, but and ownership deserves like a lot of blame for so many things. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to defend. I will give them credit that when things aren't going right, like they act. They hired like, Bobby Valentine that one year. It was disaster. He was gone. Ben Cherington was the GM. The results weren't coming. He was gone. Dombrowski, he did his job. He did what he came here to do. And the ownership could tell. Like the farm system was just like, we were going to be a mess if we didn't do something. So they did something about it. So like, I've been super critical of the Yankees in recent years, who I like, why should Brian Cashman still be running that organization? Why should Aaron Boone still be that manager? Like, and I don't, from everything you read, like there's no change coming. I would rather be what the Red Sox are doing right now and actually, making a change, acknowledging the problem, and do something about it.
Yeah, I saw something. Maybe the timing they should have done it a little earlier so they could have had a shot at David Stearns, but I don't think David Stearns was going anywhere other than New York.
Yeah, I don't think he was either. And I do. So Bob Nightingale, like a couple weeks ago, had a report that like there was rumors about Stearns in the Red Sox. Again, just like total speculation. My guess is the Red Sox were like sniffing around, and if they thought they had a chance at Stearns, they were going to fire, try to like make it happen, like a little switcheroo. But again, I agree with you. Like Cohen was not going to let that happen. There was also a report that Stearns is tied with Andrew Freeman now for the highest contract.
It
And
felt like he was going there even before the
it's been like
ownership
a year.
change.
It's been mapped out for a while. And again, if Cohen caught wind of that, like it wouldn't have mattered. He would have thrown just more millions at it. And that makes sense. Like Stearns is like a New York, like he grew up a Mets fan. So like,
Right.
That was so much of like Theo's appeal when he was here in Boston. It was like, oh, he grew up, right outside Fenway Park in Brookline. So, and I like that stuff. So, I'm not like devastated not to have Stearns or anything. I think we still have, there's going to be like some incredible options out there.
Yeah, I do. I also saw some people talking that, and you even mentioned in your article that Alex Cora could maybe take a step up, which to me, maybe I'm still too close to reading the book about the Houston Nuts by the Evan Drellich book, winner. Winning Fixes Everything, which I highly recommend to read as a baseball fan. Yeah, I got it on my phone.
I literally have it right here.
So maybe I'm too close to reading some of the Alex Cora stories in there. Have you read it?
I literally have the book like sitting on my table out here. But I haven't read it yet.
Okay. Yeah, he sounded like he had some issues.
I did read Astro Ball. There was another Astros book before the cheating stuff.
Yeah, I've been slowly working on that one as I sit and think at work.
I started reading the Baseball 100 by Joe Posnowski.
I don't know that one.
He just like ranks. It's not even like a rank. He just like finds a reason to talk about like 100 of the best players ever. I learned like so much about baseball history. It's really cool.
Interesting. All right, we are waiting for one person here. Let's hit the button. I don't know if you've been here since we got the button. But we have the Fangraphs button now,
Oh,
which
there it is this time.
there it is. Yeah, no, I added this little like additional thing to help me run the show, and you can like do custom buttons. And the first one I made was one that just opens up Fangraphs. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't have anything technical to do with my setup. It's nice for like changing the scene. Like I can do like this at the press of a button.
That's nice.
But the other thing custom thing I could do is like, what do I do on stream a lot? We open up Fangraphs.
I truly don't know like what I would do without Fangraphs. It's football season right now, and you and I are, I think, comfortable to say like baseball guys first, but we still do like some football stuff.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to find like good. It's not impossible. It's getting better, but like it's really hard to find good football data. And when I try to explain this to other football people, I'm like, I have like 2 sites. I go to Fangraphs, I go to Baseball Savant, and that has every single thing I need.
Yeah. Yeah. If I ever want to like find something for football and do a little bit of research, like I don't know where to go.
Yeah, I'm starting to build up my library about it because it's driven me nuts for so many years. And again, it is getting better. Like Fantasy Life's doing some good stuff.
Yeah, I haven't checked those out yet, but I've seen the Badge Bros using those on stream for their daily or their weekly battle royale stuff. So I definitely have to go check that out. I used to use Add More Funds for a bit to do like target distribution and stuff like that. But yeah, so AL teams here, we have basically it's all set except for are the Blue Jays ever going to wake up and make a push? If you look at the actual the record, they're close to the Mariners, but they're in the wrong division there. So they're 11 games behind the Wild. No, that's their division. Sorry.
Wait a minute.
We want to look at wild card. That's what I want. All right, so Fangraphs right now is saying that Blue Jays are 41% to get that wild card, which seems high. But again, like I said, if you actually look at the records, just if you're going based on who's playing well right now, the Blue Jays looked really sad in Texas. Our draft did start, but any hot takes there on, or do you feel like there is a team there that is going to separate itself, or do you think it's going to go down the wire? So Texas, Blue Jays, and Mariners, sort of the three.
I was catching Mariners fever during that crazy run that they were on. It was really important for me to see Julio do what he did because I started getting a little worried about just his ballpark and his, offensive environment compared to some of the other young stars in the game. And again, Seattle's a team like you can really tell yourself a story about similar to the Brewers about how that pitching just takes over.
Yeah.
In terms of like any of them separating, yeah, it does get really hard. I think if at this point, now that we have the Scherzer news, if you're gonna stack Texas, because I think Texas at the time when the pennant came out, they were like still looking like pretty good for a bye.
Yep.
And so there's going to be some interesting Texas teams. And if I was going to do them, I would try to find a way to differentiate. Obviously, you're not going to take Scherzer at this point, but I would want the entire Texas offense because we've seen when that lineup gets hot, like they've been the best lineup in baseball at times this year.
I haven't seen. Is there a chance that Josh Young comes back?
I just saw he is cleared to resume baseball activities. It sounds like it's going to be close.
Okay.
You could do a possible double Houston tap here.
That is my goal here. We'll see. We're gonna try and get. Okay, series does go with the Philly stack, which is great. We can get this top Houston pairing.
All right, now because I was just looking at this when you pulled up Fangraphs,
Yes, sir.
and now it's relevant now because of Houston, and I know like they are probably going to win the division. Like Fangraphs gives them 63.5. Oh, sorry, yeah, no, 63% chance, but they don't have a huge lead. I know, and their strength of schedule is a lot easier down the stretch, but it's not like they have like like you were talking about the Brewers. The Brewers have a 4.5 game lead. Like the Astros have a half game lead. And
Yeah, so
their chance of division is so much better because they are the best team and their strength of schedule is so much easier. But that is just worth pointing out that it's not like a lock, and that should affect now. Like it's up to you. It depends where you go from here if you treat them as a bye team or
not. As a noted Houston stacker, in regular season, I'm just gonna put a bunch of them together.
Yeah, I think that's what I do. Oh my God. And look at this. Look how it's set up for you.
All right. So we're gonna go a little crazy here, and try and get the 4 guys to just like lock in the 4 stars hitters.
From where you took the first 2 Astros, is that normal that they all come back to you like that? Or do people usually mix in Astros the first 3 rounds no matter what?
I think it's usually split. At least one other person is. I don't know lately with them being a bye team, like or thought of as a bye team.
I kind of like your strategy here actually, because that guy's now probably going to take Verlander. So you will probably lose both the pitchers. I don't know if you assume that, anyways, but
I know that there is a big step down from these 2 guys, Valdez and Verlander, but compared to, I'll say we've seen both struggle this season at different points. And,
oh yeah, for sure.
Obviously, Verlander is always a question of health. He's just his age, yeah. So he does take that 2 combo, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah,
because I mean, we'd prefer to have them, but we'll just take this and be happy. And here, let's see. I haven't done it.
Yes.
Let's do it. Your confidence. This is so.
My game theory is being rebranded as confidence.
This is getting risky. In that he's back. Okay. This is getting risky, obviously, in that both could be bye teams. But as you pointed out,
be a bye team.
What did you say before then? Maybe I'm.
No, the Brewers can't be a bye team.
But they can't face the Phillies. That's what you're saying. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, this makes sense because so once you took the 4 Astros hitters, you kind of needed to stack with the NL team that has good pitchers, or else your pitching staff's just going to suck.
Oh.
The inverse of that is that now your World Series, you're going to have all these Brewers pitchers against all these Astros hitters. But
yeah. I didn't even realize that was Chip taking those guys.
Oh,
but, yeah, that's fine. And
I still kind of think that this makes sense if you can get the full Brewers.
Yeah, if I can get all three.
And then I would want Yelich.
I'm super worried about Yelich.
Right? Huh, maybe
Like
look.
he has never had a back issue and then bounced back quick. Like this is a historical thing.
I maybe I haven't. I know he's been like day to day lately. I haven't been super in the weeds with that injury. I just know like I've been impressed with him this year overall.
Yeah, and he's gone
He
cold.
sucks since August.
Yeah, he's gone cold. So I think it was bothering him earlier, and I think they made a mistake not to put him. He missed like 5 days of games, so just put him on the 10-day for the back. Let him recuperate. Like,
I think what impressed
have
me
him
this year about him with his health was like the stolen bases. He's been
Yeah.
like consistently stealing a few, or not a few, but like half a dozen bases every month.
Yeah, so he's still here. We're gonna take him.
But ever since that back stuff started happening, I was quick to fade him as like a round one like fantasy guy. And then entering this year, the hate had gone too far the other way, I think.
Yep, for sure. And you still would have been the debate is always Bellinger, or Bellinger showed him up this year again. That like those guys are always paired together in people's heads. Yeah. But I think both, like you could have got both this year and been happy. The thing, yeah, I've seen it before as a fan. He gets this problem and then he tries too hard, or he's just never right. But yeah, one of my hot takes was that he was gonna go 30-30 this year. So he was close. He's close to 20-30. All right, we're gonna take Willy Adames, who has turned it on. Let's see, we got 3 more picks. Our outfield is stacked. Our infield is kind of stacked too, to be honest.
Would you take a Houston pitcher next, or?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to take a Houston pitcher. I just don't care which one too much right now. As we get closer, I think I'm gonna just take a guy that's like undrafted, most likely in most drafts, in Carlos Santana. Probably.
Oh, go ahead.
William Contreras is a better pick in terms of actual output potential. But yeah, let's take these 4 guys here. Talk about if any of them, any of these guys stand out to you to be the number 3.
I do think there's kind of a tier of the first 2, and definitely Urquidy is at. Like, I wouldn't want Urquidy. I don't think he should be drafted anywhere.
Okay. He's been my hot take, Houston.
Oh, has he really?
Yeah.
I just feel like he's the likeliest to not get a rotation spot.
Well,
they do have a legit 6 starters, but
the theory was that he has the least amount of work this year.
Yeah. I mean, I've been super let down by Javier this year, and maybe he's someone who just needs like shorter stints in the playoffs to get that fastball velocity back. But
because we can take 2 of them here.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably just go Javier and Brown personally, but
yeah,
I really like your idea on Carlos Santana there as someone who doesn't get drafted. I think that's sharp.
Yeah, and I'm totally off Rowdy Tellez. He just doesn't play.
Willy Adames was so frustrating this year. Was in a redraft league and using the bad X projections, and all year was just like, stick with it, stick with it, stick with it. And it was just like not happening. I did eventually drop him, but then I picked him back up, so I still got to experience some of the fun.
Yeah. All right. So I just went safe there with the 2 guys that are the most skilled.
If it ends up Astros Brewers, like this is like nice. Like I like this.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually, you know, I'm looking at my little sheet here where I keep track of the combos I have, and this is my third Milwaukee Houston stack.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, this is actually the only team I've paired with Houston, which is interesting. Maybe I need to fix that as I go, but I don't know how that happened.
Oh crap! What was I gonna say? I had something to say.
All right, I do know that you had a an hour limit, so we're pushing up against that. I think we probably only talked about 1/4 of the things we would want to talk about in this.
I think we've talked about this idea before. It gets tough while drafting sometimes, and
Yeah,
so especially like with you know, me and Chris too, and the Badge Bros and whoever, or just the two of us, like however we want to do it. Like one of these times you just come on just to like talk shop a little bit and
yeah,
maybe like end it with a draft. That would actually work well with the pennant because the drafts are so quick.
that's true. That's
It'll
true.
just allow for a little bit more time. I had one more thing to say about the Brewers.
Okay.
I'm forgetting.
Well, if it was positive, I want to hear it. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it. I say enough negative things about them.
No, I like that draft. And again, like for me, and it's really tough to know how it's gonna play out. I feel like my approach to this would be like the Braves and Dodgers fighting. That's gonna be there the final week leading up to this contest, right? Like that's always gonna be there. It's been there since day one. It's always gonna be there. I would be using this time just to get like the best combos, like best full combos, like Rays, Brewers, like Astros, Phillies, or whatever those like are. Because who knows if the Cubs just go on a crazy run and make it close, and now the Cubs have all this steam, like you're not gonna be able to get Cubs at these great prices anymore.
Yeah, I agree. I think that makes sense. That's super sharp. I think I get tempted by ADP too much and end up with a Dodgers or a Houston a lot often as my core.
And again, because you do want some of that though, because if it is those teams like you, yeah, no, it's fun. It's a really fun contest to think through. And yeah, I think this contest more than any like ADP, it just like doesn't matter. Like it's way more about leverage over who you're drafting against. And like you said, like staking those claims, having an awareness, oh, this person might go off script here, or I've seen this person draft before, like they're not going to do anything crazy. Like that type of stuff in this contest is really, really important.
Yep. And yeah, it's kind of tough, I'll be honest. Like for people, it is a $10 entry, which if somebody who's not super hardcore wants to like dive in, it's kind of tough to do a bunch of entries.
That's true.
To cover a lot of combos. So the mentality, even if you're doing 150 in this, I feel like more so than like a season long, the mentality you have to have going in is that you've already lost. Like I'm making these bets this way this year, and I'm going to do it similar next year, because what really is the driving factor is who the World Series teams are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so unpredictable that having a set strategy, like even multiple, like going through that over multiple years, is more important than getting a weird team into the finals, or like a split up team into the finals. It's my life.
That makes a ton of sense, and that's why I want to like, yeah, next time we do this, let's talk through like how the MLB playoffs can look. If it goes chalk, what are the winning teams going to look like? If it gets nutty, what are the winning teams going to look like? I think that's a way to play it. But I mean, no, we could have talked, you know, for way longer per usual, and now I want to do it again soon.
All right, yeah, I think Next week, Chris will be here. I won't hold him to the flame on that, but I will say it out loud so that maybe he commits to it for the 3 people watching right now. But yeah, thank you, Brendan. Always a blast to talk to you. We could talk about this for ages, all night long. Yeah, so thank you for those of that drafted with me today. Everybody have a good weekend, and hopefully y'all go take down some NFL money this weekend.
For sure, man. Thanks.